How do we do it? Weigh out 40 grams of sodium hydroxide in a beaker. Add 100 milliliters of distilled water to the sodium hydroxide. Mix it into a 40% sodium hydroxide solution. Stir from both sides simultaneously until all the stains inside dissolve. It's blocked. Just poke it a little with chopsticks. Then add about 150 grams of crushed ice. Begin to add the sodium hydroxide solution that was just prepared. This process will release a lot of heat. Don't pour it all at once. Add it slowly in multiple portions. The crushed ice inside can also maintain a low temperature as a coolant. If the temperature is too high, the hydroxide may replace the chlorine atoms, generating strong base acetic acid and affecting the results. So you have to go slowly. Don't rush. After a while, take some out. Use pH test paper to check the acidity. You can see that it is almost neutral now. We still have to continue adding and subtracting. About 75 milliliters of sodium hydroxide solution is enough. Salt added. The color of the solution has obviously changed. You can tell it's alkaline without testing. Let's measure it anyway. See? Indeed, I was right. Adding the stuff doesn't really generate heat. You can pour it all in at once. Set up a simple apparatus. Start heating for distillation. When the temperature reaches about 60 degrees, the color changes significantly. Nitroacetic acid begins to decompose, producing carbon dioxide. Above 80 degrees, the reaction becomes more violent. The produced steam has already reached the receiving flask through the condenser tube. The liquid looks opaque. It's milky white. Now the solution's color is getting darker, almost approaching black. Add another thermocouple, used to monitor the reaction temperature of the mixture below, 3 times. One is for monitoring the steam temperature. Remove the aluminum foil that maintains the temperature. Stop heating. Wait a moment. If it's still bubbling inside, producing carbon dioxide, it means the reaction isn't complete. It needs to be heated further. Look, the effluent is separated into layers. The transparent upper layer is basically water. Sword and swallowtail funnel. Open the faucet. Pour the remaining water into another beaker. So, this part still needs to be processed. Add sodium chloride to it. Keep adding until it no longer dissolves. Pull it apart. Pour it back into the round bottom flask. Continue heating and distilling. See there? The turbid liquid is coming out again. Wait until the outflow is basically without water. Stop heating. Pour it into the separating funnel. Put it into the separating funnel. Add saturated sodium chloride solution. Reduce the solubility. Cover it and take it down. Open the faucet to vent. Shake it again. Vent it again. The sodium chloride solution has a higher density. It's not in the lower layer. Let it out. Add some desiccant. Remove the residual moisture. After 30 minutes, heat the small filter flask again. Distill and discard the residue below 95 degrees. Do not turn off the receiving flask. Only collect the bottom above 96 degrees. Almost there. Stop heating. Take a look. Only produced so much. Indeed, not much. Never mind. As long as it's pure. It looks very transparent now. Smells a little bit fragrant. Drip a few milliliters into the bottle cap and ignite. Test it. A little slower. You can see that it won't ignite instantly like fireworks. After ignition, there is the classic white ghost flame. This stuff does look beautiful. Turn off the lights and take another look. Oh, it looks even more beautiful. It can also burn very effectively and releases a lot of energy, so it is often used as a fuel additive for racing cars. This stuff is flammable and toxic. Explosive. It can be mixed with ethanol, acetone, and ether. Not only can it be used as fuel, but it is also a good solvent and extractant.